If you give INEC this water, they fit turn am to wine. There's nothing INEC cannot do. What INEC cannot do does not exist. INEC is a political party. And the current INEC is APC. They said they want to move from Emilokan to Seyilokan.
APC's dominance in Lagos is a myth. In the presidential election, APC lost Lagos. In the INEC declared result, APC lost Lagos. Some argue that if the governorship election had been held on that same day, they would have lost Lagos.
Do you imagine somebody that is Wike's cousin will conduct a credible election? Wike's cousin is the one that conducted that election in Edo, where they changed results on IREV. Wike is demolishing people's houses. He does not follow due process of law. All you see is that you just see bulldozer while you are sleeping. They'll bring down your house. And what he's telling people is that, his president has said he need land. There's a saying when Tinubu was here that he was selling the whole of Lagos for himself. So they want to replicate that now in Abuja. The Lagos State Governor is a litigant. There's no hope. Nigeria go better, Nigeria go better. Since 1960 something, they sing this song now.
Yes.
But now we're in 2024, for God's sake. We are still in this studio singing Nigeria go better. So which day this country go better? If Burna Boy were to be defamed, allegedly, in the US or in the UK, or in any part of Europe, or in any civilized society, will he use police to arrest Speed Darlington?
What would you do?
Because you're a big man, mobilize 50 mobile policemen, men that should be chasing bandits in Zamfara. What kind of a country is this? There's a contractor that Wike arrested in the FCT. So this contractor, I think he was owing them maybe small money. Some of the contractors, they owe them 300,000, 400,000. So the contractor sent him a message. I cannot feed my family. My children are sick. Blah, blah. They went to arrest the contractor. They didn't see him. They arrested his wife.
Chimo.
And took her to SARS Abattoir in Guzape in Abuja.
Jesus.
Do you know who Wike is? Wike is fighting Sim Fubara because Wike was declaring 11 billion IGR over a year ago. Sim Fubara is... Yes, no doubt there are a lot of good politicians in the country. Everybody in this country knows my stand about this government and the previous government. Especially this man who snatched it, ran away with it, who stole the election. He knows that he stole the election. But should we say that everybody who is in this government is bad? I don't think so. Malam Nurubadu is in this government. He is somebody that I'm sure will not steal $1. You know his record, his history in this country. He's rejected millions of dollars as bribe as EFCC chairman.
Your mic.
Oh, yes, so he rejected and refused millions of dollars as EFCC chairman. So you can't say that there are no good people. You cannot give a blanket statement. While I do not, like the government, I do not like the president, I know that there are some great people who are doing great stuff in the government. But so I would be very selfish to just do a blanket statement to say, everybody in the government is bad. Was Dora Akunyili not in the bad government of one previous government? There are always ray of lights, even in darkness. Akinwumi Adesina was also in one government that everybody criticized and said was bad in this country. But my issue has always been that the bad people in government are more than the good ones. And that's why you can see that Buhari now is happy that Tinubu came after him. Because we thought that Buhari was bad. But look at what we are currently witnessing. Buhari is happy that he was maybe like, his government can be described as shambles. Somebody just mentioned shambles recently, that the economy is in shambles and people are getting angry. So Buhari's government could have been described as shambles. But look at the Tinubu government. Comatose. Completely gone. So these are the issues. The bad people outweigh the good people. And that is why people generally, and the trust deficit, I don't even want to go there. People generally don't just want to have anything to do with people who are in government.
But so I would let you respond to that question. Yeah. But there's a perception amongst many Nigerians, and you would not blame us for thinking a certain way, because if we go back to since the return to democratic rule in 1999 and the various administrations that we have had, and a particular pattern of maybe politicians crisscrossing from one political party to the other, new governments coming into power. At some point, it was, the 16 years of the PDP did this to Nigeria. Now we are going to another 16 years, and this is the major opposition political party, was the major opposition political party at the time, and it would appear like it has even worsened or there's no difference. And that's why many people say, all these our politicians then be the same.
All of them
no matter who even entered there, nothing go change. And they just said that you have, more bad people
than the good ones.
So, I mean, do we just continue with the circle and say, now like this it go be, or the good ones would one day outshine the bad ones?
So it's a good question, and I agree that we have good people. We have good people. There's nowhere where you say everybody is bad. And so in our political space, yes, we have good people. But in addition to the fact that we have very many bad people who overwhelm the good people, it's also the case that a lot of the time, the good people come in, I would say, appointed rather than elected offices. And so what that means is that very often they are playing within a restricted field, and the real institutional decisions that have long-standing impact are not taken by them. That's why you see somebody, he mentioned Doya Kunyili, people will talk about Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. You will always see good people, they will come, they will work very hard for 4 years as minister or 8 years, and they will go. And things will not change fundamentally for the better. Because they are operating within a sandbox that's given to them by the people in elective office. So what needs to happen is that you need to have more people of that ilk who are willing to step out to seek elective office. And then you need people to rally behind them and support them. Because a lot of the time, what you see is when you see people like that step forward, others will stand back and be looking and say, let's see if anything will come of this, right? But you have to support them. You have to support them. And the more we find, and the more we gather together, and the more we come together as people of a like mind, people will rally around us and say, okay, it looks like something is beginning to build here. Maybe we can support this. And then we gather momentum, and then we move, and then we succeed. What we must never do is lose hope. And what we must never do is give up. Because the forces on the other side, that's what they want. That is what they want. And nobody ever hands this thing to you. We have to take it, and we have to be persistent, and we have to be diligent, and we have to be as hungry for it as they are.
Interesting. So it's good that we have started on this footing. The fact that we have established that bad people dey, but good people dey. And it is for the good people to present themselves to run, and for people to also support these good people, because it's a matter of choice. If the good people present themselves, you not support them, no problem. This same country, Baba Gani, if I were him, one person when people they respect present himself to run for president, some go laugh at the outcome of the election. So he even may say, we as a people say, problem.
I was about asking the same question.
But let me ask another question before we now, move into other areas, because there are bad people, there are good people, and there's also the system. Nigeria as a system, if I can liken it to that, is it designed
to work?
The political system now, is it designed to allow good people come in and work? Or it is structured in a way that no matter how good these people are, the output would not be good? And I know that a couple of legal luminaries have looked at the 1999 Constitution, and they have said that as a document, it doesn't meet the requirements, and it will continue to fail Nigerians. So I'll just leave that and then allow you take it up from there.
Yeah, so basically, the system is designed to favor bad people. Any system that is centered around money cannot never be a good system, especially politically speaking. And the reason why I'm saying this is because during the US presidential election, I said something very humorous, indeed, that was trending all over the place. And I said, INEC can still save the day for Kamala.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that all INEC needs to do is just to switch off the server, you know, falsify the result on IRF, and Kamala will be sworn in. That's what goes on here. Because the system is programmed in such a way that it is bad people that wins. No matter how hard you fight. He talked about appointed people. How can you have a nation where this government said they've saved 20 trillion naira from subsidy?
Yes.
But they are going to borrow 2 trillion.
Why not take from inside the 20
That
trillion?
you saved.
It will be remaining 18 trillion.
My brother Anedu, maybe many of us no go school. Okay, if you save 20 trillion from subsidy removal, after all, the money is not with Akpabio. Neither is it with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The money must be somewhere. Let's borrow from it. Why are we now embarrassing the country to go and be borrowing
Outside.
externally?
Maybe they don't want to touch that one.
Okay, maybe they don't want to touch that money. Maybe they keep on for rainy day, Abi. It's possible. Because I don't understand. So that is on one hand. On the second hand, about the issue of the constitution. Of course, our laws, majority of our laws are colonial laws, adopted by the military. They regurgitated the laws and just threw it back at the citizenry. Look, case study of India. India has developed jurisprudentially to the point that, you know, the chapter 2 of our constitution is the most important chapter. This chapter talks about right to education, equality of opportunities, industrialization, employment, labor-related issues. This issue that Dangote is doing by always going for monopoly, chapter 2 has spoken about it, that you cannot operate a country that favors one person, where all you keep giving is, you give Dangote half the price in dollar to build this refinery. You use taxpayers' money to also give him the money to build this refinery. Why should you, as you are giving Dangote, you should be giving another person who is an Igbo person the same equal opportunity? The Constitution has taken care of all this. But that chapter of our Constitution, chapter 2, is what the courts have said is non-justiciable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that those chapters, it does not matter. But India has been able to justify, to make his own chapter 2 justiciable by deepening his jurisprudence. So, and look at all these archaic laws. Over 200 archaic laws in India has been phased out, colonial laws, because these laws are colonial in nature. So, for instance, why should Burna Boy arrest Pete Darlington with police? After all, it was not the government that Burna Boy insulted, that Pete Darlington insulted. Assuming without considering that Pete Darlington even insults the government, why should police be involved? This is a civil wrong against an individual.
Yes.
The remedies, even if Pete Darlington is arraigned before the court, the Supreme Court have several in a plethora of cases said that the remedies that will be accruable to Burna are personal in nature. Why should your money and his money and my money be used to prosecute Pete Darlington over the ego of Burna Boy? Do you understand the irony that we are running, that we call a country? So these are some of the issues why our laws, they must be forward-looking, not backward-looking as we currently have it. Again, using India, Singapore, and other developed jurisprudential nations, while we must sincerely focus on laws that are democratic in nature. The reason why many nations of the world have advanced is because they have removed laws that are anti-progressives and brought positive laws. And how do I mean by positive laws? Very simple. For instance, if Burna Boy were to be defamed, allegedly, in the US or in the UK or in any part of Europe or in any civilized society, will he use police to arrest Pete Darlington?
What would you do?
He will sue him for
normally.
defamation.
Okay.
He will sue him because the idea of suing someone that you feel has slighted you, has spoilt your name, has defamed you allegedly, is that when you sue them, the law restores you back to the original position that you were before you were defamed. Because the idea is that, thinking members of the society have now they are looking at me in a different way. That, so this guy is like this. And that I've lost revenue. I've lost goodwill. He has tarnished my name, my reputation. So, but you don't go and, because you're a big man, mobilize 50 mobile policemen, men that should be chasing bandits in Zamfara, men that should be chasing armed robbers, men that should be chasing. Do you know how many people are raped in Nigeria on a daily basis? Do you know how many people are kidnapped? So the resource that should have been used to chase criminals, you are using it to chase people who are engaged in an ego war.
Interesting. So this is where we are. A system that is defective, that does not even give opportunity for even the good people who come out to try to succeed. Is there anything that can be done about it?
Well, yes. I mean, I think that, first of all, I agree with my brother. He's a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. There are many things that we need to fix in our laws, right? And people have talked about the Constitution. I think also even the laws that we have, right? We do not enforce those laws.
Yes.
So, and sometimes government itself is the biggest culprit of disregarding laws that the government itself promulgated. And very often, they do it with impunity,
So much.
and nobody holds them to account. And that is part of what we can do, right? Because citizens can rise up and say, this law was violated, and go to court on that matter. That a law was violated here. It has impacted me in so and so and so way. And so I institute a matter in court. We currently have a matter like that as we speak, where we believe government has taken an action that is inconsistent with about 2 or 3 laws, illegal, actually unlawful in our view, and we have sued. And that case is in court. We'll have the hearing in January. So there are things we can do. Some may argue that will the judiciary, will you get what you want out of it and all of that? Yeah, but we cannot sit at home and say we're not going to try. You go. Who knows? You might meet a judge that is courageous, who will give a decision in your favor. You have to pursue that. You have to. You cannot sit down at home and say you're not going to do it. That's number one. Number two is that, you see, there's a will, a collective will of the people that is a very powerful force. Even in matters of election that we talk about, where we say there's ability to write elections and all of that. My view about it is that thing only operates within certain limits. If there is an overwhelming will of the people in a particular direction, a lot of the things that we're talking about today cannot stand. They cannot stand. How many are we in Lagos? Take Lagos, for example. They say we are 20 to 30 million people. They say we have registered voters in Lagos, about 7 million. The total number of people that voted in the last election is about 1 million. It's about 1 million. Imagine if 6 million people came out on that day. And they are mostly of one mind that this is what we want. Do you think it's going to be easy for somebody to overturn that? It's not going to be easy. But if it's 1 million people that turn up, of which 400,000 are dedicated to the incumbent, the rest are here and there and can be swayed one way or the other.
With Maggie.
It becomes a marginal contest. You see what I mean? But if the will of the people are strong in a particular way, that thing cannot be overcome. It cannot be overcome. So that is another area of strength that we have that I think maybe we have not fully maximized. And it goes back to this idea of, people not being, not being resigned that there's nothing we can do, because that's part of the issue. That's why they don't come out on the day. Yes, we know that there's suppression and all those kinds of things those are real issues. Again, it is easier to suppress if there are only 1 million of you trying to come out. If there are 5 or 6 million of you trying to come out, it is very difficult to suppress. There are 245 wards in Lagos State alone, 10,000 polling units. If 5 million or 6 million people come out, it is difficult to overwhelm it. So all of these things structurally with respect to laws and all that, we have to do. But when the system is not working the way you want it to work, the will of the people provides a strength that is over and above even the laws themselves.
Do you think the system will ever be at the point where it's going to decide, okay, let's make this work? Because you're saying something in the first point that you made, that there's a suit in the court in the courts that you people are going to be going in January against the government, I suppose. But couple of times I don't see different people they carry government to go court. E.g. Sarap.
Nobody sue Rich Sarap.
Nobody sue Rich Sarap. We are suing you for this one. We are suing you for this one. Yet nothing comes out of it. And you also understand the fact that he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
They will even tell you go to court.
Go to court. And nothing is going to happen. Who they fund the judiciary? How many people they release Jeep give the judges? Who they do this one?
Build quarters for them.
Build quarters for them. See, sir, let me say this. We the people, we have lost hope.
So
I'm going to say it the way it is. Right. Hope, man. Okay, in the last election, everybody came out. I'm a vote. People that came out.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Because plenty people still there for house. Will not come outside. Some na social media them. The truth is, if everybody will go by social media, come outside, the election probably.
Now I'm at the talk now. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's easier for the negative forces to prevail if there's only 1 million people. If there's 4 or 5 million people, it is very difficult. It is very difficult. Some will argue with you that, if you look at the Buhari election, right? The Buhari election was not an incumbent government, but there was an incumbent government in place. You would not think that an incumbent government like that would be overcome, right? But there was a popular will. Whether it was misguided or not is something we can sit down here today and we can argue.
Yes.
But there was a popular will that could not be overcome by the forces that were in place. They had federal might. They had all the resources, right? But the people were determined that this is where we are going, right? So they couldn't overwhelm it. See, this very attitude, I know it's difficult, particularly when you've gone through processes like this, to say, look, we are tired, we've given up and all of that. But what you have to remember is that is exactly
what they want.
But they also frustrate people by keeping the voters card. Because I remember during the election, there were some voters cards that were found in the bush. Like, that one also contributes to
disenfranchisement.
No, we know there are a lot of shortcomings in the electoral process. But, if a process is perfect, then maybe the work you have to do to get your way may be small. But if a process is flawed, then the work you have to do, you just have to know that the work you have to do is a lot. And it is true, but we have to do it. Nobody's going to hand it to us. That's the truth. So either we sit down here and continue discussing.
I have gotten to the point of Nedu that there's no hope. That's the point I've gotten to, that there's no hope. That this idea of always giving ourselves confidence or hope, that we're just in a fool's paradise. We're just encouraging ourselves. We're trying to be positive. Our parents did this now. We've been at this since 1960 something.
Understand?
Do you know Nigeria go better? Since 1960 something, they sing this song now.
Yes.
But now we're in 2024, for God's sake. We are still in this studio singing Nigeria go better. So which day this country go better? Like this issue of INEC that has been raised. I have come to INEC is a political party. And the current INEC is APC. Everybody in INEC knows this, including the chairman, Mahmoud. If you give INEC this water, they will turn on to wine. There's nothing INEC cannot do. What INEC cannot do does not exist. And they tell you. And that's why I have reached the point that I have said that let us agree that INEC is a political party. This idea of independent, let's remove it from their name. Let's just call them
Electoral Commission.
No, National Electoral Commission, NEC. Like the way we used to call them before. So now, when we call them that, we remove the independent, because they are not independent. Even they, Mr. Chairman, are you independent? They know now, say they know they're independent. They know. So not be saying an allegation. This one a statement of fact. Make we know they disguise this. I took Professor Rufus to court. We are still in court. She's an APC card carrying member from Bayelsa. She's a national commissioner in INEC. I can tell you that almost all the national commissioner, almost all, I'm not saying all, are card carrying members of APC.
Even the one in Edo State.
What are you talking about? That one is Wike's cousin. The person that just conducted that election in Edo is Wike. Do you imagine somebody that is Wike's cousin will conduct a credible election? Wike's cousin is the one that conducted that election in Edo where they changed results on IREV. So let us agree that INEC is partisan. Now, to have a credible election with a partisan umpire, this is how to do it. So you tell PDP to bring 10 people to make national commissioners. You tell APC to bring 10 people to make national commissioner. You tell Labour Party to bring 10 people to make national commissioner. When you get the 30 of them, you now tell the president, among these 30, you have the discretion to make one of the national chairman. Make we see how INEC won the election for Nigeria.
But INEC will see all of them now.
What we are saying,
they talk from, you bring people from different
when you bring political party stakeholders, because we are just in a fool's paradise, we are deceiving ourselves. INEC is not independent. INEC is a political party. So when you bring critical stakeholders from each of the political parties to form the leadership of INEC, you can no longer rig any election. Because the person representing Labour Party will not agree.
Yes.
The person representing PDP will not agree. The person representing APC will not agree. This is the only way to conduct credible election.
But even if they don't...
And also, you do the same for the 36 states. So, the leadership of the National Electoral Commission, NEC, we comprise of... Because, see, as long as politicians are the ones nominating these people, and this problem we're having in INEC is also the judiciary problem that you were just talking about now, where politicians, look at EFCC now, they won't catch Yabelo. The Yabelo don't already know before they reach in house. Because go and look at the recruitment process on EFCC in the last 10 years. While I must commend the current chairman, I have nothing against them. But go and look at how they've been recruiting people. It is politician, now senator, honorable member, now then they bring list.
Slot
of people where they appoint to. How do you want to fight corruption, but you are appointing politically exposed persons to head EFCC, politically exposed persons to be judges. Do you know why they said in court you cannot record court proceeding? Because they don't want you to show the face of the judge. So that make husband material no run into supermarket tomorrow, see my lord. You say, no be justice, so, no be justice, no be this. My lord, I have one matter before you. My lord, please help me. He's my husband, no. Don't jail my... So that is why, see, judges are supposed to be sacred beings. They are terrestrial. You cannot just be interacting with them. So when you have judges who are wives to known politicians, husband to known politicians, this political party, honorable minister go come see the husband when a politician for evening. Now, my lord, they cook, they serve food.
But you said we should, that if you put this political party, bring that political party, this person, one person must shout. But during the election, I remember Dino Melaye shouting, no, we are not going to, what did if I get it right, they say,
he's not a stakeholder. It's like, see, let me paint a more vivid picture so that we can solve some of our political problems, because this platform is so credible that it's not just for highlighting inadequacies of government.
Yes.
It's to profile solutions. Because some of them say, all we do is criticize. Now we are offering solutions to the country's plethora of problems.
Yes.
When you bring critical stakeholders from various political parties, there will be check and balance within the INEC. When you bring, for instance, if we want to say, we want to be appointing politically exposed persons as judges, then let's do it across board. Let's give everybody, you say PDP, bring 10 people, let's appoint them into the judiciary. APC, bring 10 people, let's appoint them into judiciary. Labour Party, bring 10. So that let's know that these people are partisan people. So that there will be, the idea, the concept of judicial independence as canvassed by proponents and scholars is that the judiciary must be immune from executive interference, legislative interference, and interference from private persons. Once there is somebody that is directing the judiciary. And that is why we condemn the situation where my lord, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, will be hosted to a dinner by the Lagos State Governor. Yes, we condemn it because the Lagos State Governor is a litigant before the courts. It is an abuse on judicial independence. A situation where the Minister of FCT will be building houses for judges. Are you telling me that the judiciary, they have a budget?
He's building houses for judges.
Yes. Are you telling me that the judiciary does not have budget? The judiciary have budget. If the judiciary are in need of houses, they can build for themselves. If the judiciary are in need of cars, they can buy for themselves. So you don't need anybody to entice them. And you now go and take land from somebody to build houses for judges. The law is very clear.